I dropped out in the 4th grade to run drugs to support my nana.
That means you haven't known the triumphs and defeats, the epic highs and lows of
being a wallflower. Wallflower. Now, a southern European plant of the cat. Okay, definition number 2. A person who has no one to dance with or who feels shy, awkward, or excluded at a party. As much as I wish I was cool and alternative and listened to the Smiths in high school, I wasn't, and I didn't. So I honestly didn't think I would like this movie when I first watched it. But when you take a 200-pound kid and add unhealthy eating deprivation habits, teenage hormones, an Invisalign-induced overbite, and post-puberty acne, you're left with one awkward motherfucker. So yeah, I kind of relate to this movie. And yeah, it's kind of one of my favorite movies ever made. And yeah, I know that there are countless videos on YouTube breaking this movie down and talking about how it's totes relatable to anybody who watches it. But this is the first video in YouTube history where I'm doing it. I also want to give a trigger warning before we start this video. You know, this movie does dive into some very serious topics, and I will be discussing those topics only within the context of the movie, but I guess I just want to urge you all to proceed with caution. If it's not for you, go check out some of my other video or my music channel, you know, link in the description. Perks of being a wallflower, TLDR. The movie follows Charlie, who is a freshman in high school, keep that in mind for later, as he makes friends, comes out of his shell, and eventually confronts some of his childhood trauma. In my opinion, this movie's about how the right friends and a good support system can help you see your value and grow from your past rather than letting certain things define you. But anyways, let's just get into the movie.
Dear friend, I am writing to you because she said you listen and understand.
When we're introduced to Charlie, he's writing, which is obviously a very big part of his character, and he also isn't talking, which says a lot about who he is too. He has a lot to say, but something is preventing him from doing it verbally. Boom. Now we basically know everything we need to know about Charlie 2 minutes into the movie. The next character we meet is Brad, and this is his first line.
Hey, you know what? Why don't you guys get a room?
Which, I mean, yeah. Patrick is being goofy, but gets absolutely obliterated by his teacher.
Either you call me Patrick or you call me nothing.
Okay. Nothing.
Which sets up his character pretty well. You know, he's optimistic, he's witty, he's lighthearted, but life just keeps taking a crap in his cereal. Paul Rudd's first line is, I'm Mr. Anderson, I'm gonna be your teacher for freshman English, which doesn't really get more self-explanatory than that. And then there's Sam, who has a bit of a different introduction. The way they set up her character isn't so much focused on the first lines that she has or the first interaction, but in the first shot we see her in, she's rimlit by this big lamp thing behind her, and she's also looking down at the camera because Charlie and Patrick are sitting while she's standing. And this shot shows the role that she plays in Charlie's story, or like Charlie's perspective, you know? She's literally glowing. And I don't remember what her first line is, but Charlie probably doesn't either, so it's irrelevant. This, my loving losers, is how you set up your motherfucking characters. In my anthropology class last semester, we read this case study about how important a first impression is. Like, regardless of whether or not we try to, it's human nature to judge someone based off the first things you get from them, which would be their appearance or the first things they say. So the first line your character says, or the first scene that they're in, has to set them up properly. Otherwise, you're spending the rest of the movie fighting against that first impression in your audience's head. But anyways, Charlie, Sam, and Patty go to a diner after the game, and in this scene, there's just so many little things that Charlie does where I'm just like, facts, bro. Agreeing with everything they say, paying for the meal, doing that tight-lipped nod thing where you're like, these are all the subtle doings of a textbook freshman hanging out with seniors.
Do you always want to be a mama's boy, Derek? Bitch, dog. Charlie, just go. I can handle it.
This is why I'm so glad I don't have a sister. Like, I feel like it's one type of hurt to get bitch slapped by your bitch ass, pussy ass, can't even bring back silverware ass boyfriend. But it's another type of hurt to see your sister get bitch slapped by her bitch ass, pussy ass, can't even take back silverware ass boyfriend, knowing that you can't do anything about it. And don't even get me started on Ponytail Derek, bro. What a fucking bitch. More like lonely, tall, shrimp dick. Fortunately, this incredibly hard scene to watch is contrasted by one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie coming right after it. Come on, See, I may have not been a wallflower per se in high school, but that doesn't mean I don't get social anxiety. Especially after the pandemic, I would literally see people that I used to be comfortable enough I could fart around and just be like, hi. And I love this scene because Charlie is literally physically taking the steps towards coming out of his shell. At first, it's uncomfortable and awkward, but you just kind of power through, and before you know it, you're a part of the very group that you were just admiring from afar. It is literally the physical representation of what it feels like to conquer social anxiety. And props to my boy Charlie, man, because I just don't know how he does it. Like, he went to a football game and a dance with no friends. I respect the hustle, man. I mean, personally, I don't think I could ever do that. I'm gonna take the time now to just plant the seed of one of my biggest points about this entire movie, of why I love it so much. And it's that Logan Lerman is a national treasure, and it is a genuine shame that he isn't in more movies. Look at the way he's walking here, man. It's so good.
This is Charlie's first party ever, so I expect nice, meaningful, heartfelt blowjobs from both of you.
Patrick is just a dick.
I fucking love Patrick so much, bro. Oh my god.
Bob, did you get him stoned?
Come on, Sam. He likes.
I just really want a milkshake.
Where is Michael tonight?
Oh, he shot himself last May.
Now I want a milkshake. The key to a healthy diet: portion control. One thing I never really understood about this movie the first time I watched it was, why did they only bring Michael up this one time? And like never again. But on this particular rewatch, which is probably my 5th time watching this movie, it actually makes perfect sense. You know, losing his best friend like that is probably what got him into the social rut that he's in right now. And it's also probably what reignited his PTSD from his aunt dying, sending him to the mental hospital in the first place. Because when they reference it, it does seem like it is pretty recent. And I don't think his support system would be as tentative as they are in this movie if something hadn't happened recently, you know? So now we get what that was. On top of that, being under the influence and accidentally oversharing some of your past trauma, which was monumental in shaping the person you are today, is just so relatable. And it's not like Hermione and Patty Ice are gonna bring that up, like that's obviously a sore subject, but it does give them the extra push they need to befriend Charlie, which is important because if they don't become friends, you don't really have a movie. So Brad's gay. He and Patrick have a secret romance, which happens to be one of my favorite subplots of the movie. Because I love Patrick, alright? Not because he's funny, not because he's flamboyant, not because he's the only good thing that Ezra Miller has ever contributed to society, but because he does stuff like this.
Hey, everyone, raise your glasses to Charlie. You see things and you understand. You're a wallflower.
I didn't think anyone noticed me.
Well, we didn't think there was anyone cool left to meet.
I could cry, man. This milkshake is so good. We're gonna skip over the tunnel scene and come back to it at the end.
When he was a junior, Patrick started seeing Brad on the weekends in secret. No matter what Patrick did, Brad kept saying that his dad would kill him. I think I understand because I really like Sam. I guess she had a reputation, but I don't care.
I really like this scene because we as the audience are hearing these stories about Patrick and Sam the same way that Charlie did. Someone just telling us. In other movies probably would have thrown in flashback clips, you know, or something to help the audience visualize it, but Charlie wasn't there, so we weren't there either. And I'm pretty sure I mentioned this earlier, but I'm not 100% sure, so I'll just say it again. This movie is very much shown through the perspective of Charlie. I'm pretty sure he's in every single scene, now that I think about it. We meet all the characters when Charlie does, as opposed to giving them their own individual introductions, like a movie like Lemonade Mouth, for example. I don't know why that was the first movie I thought of, but it's a good example, right? We find out Brad's gay when Charlie does, and there's also just a bunch of shots that are essentially his POV, you know, like I was saying about the Sam introduction earlier. And I guess I just love the subtle ways that these small things contribute to that, you know? It really does feel like we're the friend that's receiving these letters from Charlie. And he'll romanticize and emphasize whatever he wants. Whatever's important or unimportant to him is important and unimportant to us. Okay, question. Does making someone a mixtape ever actually work? Like, I feel like it's a trope in like a bunch of 90s movies to make a mixtape as a way of telling a girl how you feel, right? I guess it was just like a different time. I don't see how that could possibly work. I don't know. I mean, can you imagine if someone made a mixtape with like today's music?
Hey babe, I don't want to get too sentimental, but this next song reminds me of the reason I fell in love with you.
Oh my gosh. Look at her butt. Oh my gosh.
Also, just putting it out there, Asleep is a good song, but it is very much about dying in your sleep. And Pussytail Derek said that it reminded him of Candace's eyes. So her eyes are so ugly you want to die? Like, what the fuck? You see what I mean? This man is a walking red flag.
I don't want to bring back silverware.
Speaking of walking red flags, fuck this guy. I forget his name, but I'm just gonna call him Billy, because I hate that name. Fuck Billy. Everything that comes out of this guy's mouth is condescending or pretentious or both.
My professor gave me an A, but for all the wrong reasons. Most of them are idiots.
Poetry writes me, you know?
Why the fuck is Sam dating this burlap sack of shit? Very sad. But another example of this movie being shown through Charlie's perspective, you know what I mean? Here's a little hot take. I know a lot of you guys are probably in high school. Sometimes just being someone who listens is enough. In high school, I feel like you make friends with so many people just because you vibe with them well, but Charlie cares about and sees these people, and that shouldn't go undervalued. I think we all need a Charlie in our lives, you know?
And she turned her life around. She was my favorite person in the world until now.
Facts, Charlie. What a cutie.
I just want to make sure that the first person who kisses you loves you.
This is a cruel game, man. I'll admit, when it comes to girls, I like to beat around the bush a little bit. You know, if I really am into you, I'll probably do anything but say it, at least at first. But that said, if Emma Watson did this to me, I'm folding on the spot, bro. Take all the Beatles vinyl study dates and mixtapes you want. Take everything. I just realized I haven't eaten the cherry yet. Nice. It's Charlie's birthday, which would normally end up triggering his PTSD because that's the day that his aunt died. But Charlie is surprisingly normal. The way I see it, knowing that someone close to you has gone through similar things as you can probably help with that trauma a little bit. Seeing the ways that Sam has coped with her trauma probably can influence Charlie a little bit, make him feel a little bit more positive and optimistic about his. It's also just possible that having a more lively social life has distracted him from it a little bit, which I honestly don't think is a terrible thing either, but I guess we'll dive deeper into that later on. I love match cuts. I don't know why. They're just so cool. And this whole tripping sequence is really surreal and powerful, to be honest. I don't have any experience with psychedelics, but I did get high on painkillers once when I broke my ankle. That shit was pretty crazy. I just remember some of my own personal trauma even coming up during that experience as well. I know painkillers aren't the same as LSD, but it's kind of similar maybe? I don't know. Regardless, I think the scene is very well done. But let's get into everyone's favorite part of the movie. The Charlie-Mary Elizabeth relationship arc. Yay.
Do you like me?
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean.
I think so.
Oh, I just hate this scene so much, bro. And then there's a part where he stops kissing her and he sees Sam. You know, like, it's cute because we know that they're endgame. But can you imagine being Mary Elizabeth, bro? Like, that's so sad. But I digress, you know. It gets so much worse.
I dare you to kiss the prettiest girl in the room on the lips.
No, 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 turn it off, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off, no, no. All right, listen, man. Jokes aside, this is actually not the hardest scene to watch in this movie, okay? That belongs to Pussytail Derek. And I get why people hate it. I honestly kind of used to be in that bunch, but now that I've become more familiar with the movie, I realize that it is sandwiched between two of the funniest moments in the entire movie.
It's so bad that I keep fantasizing that one of us is dying of cancer.
Oh, that's fucked up.
So as horrible as it sounds, I kind of usually just end up laughing through it. And this isn't meant to justify what Charlie did, okay? He's an idiot. Shouldn't have done it. But I'm gonna say it. Mary Elizabeth sucks. She's a horrible girlfriend. She acts tough, but is actually really insecure, which is why she's preying on a freshman in the first place. She has a superiority complex every single time they interact. And last, but not fucking least.
Now just let it breathe.
Just let it breathe. Like, shut the fuck up, okay? You're 18 years old. I'm 20. As your superior, as your elder, I can confidently let you know that wine doesn't start smelling good until you're at least 35. So pretentious, bro. She's basically like the girl version of Billy. But anyways, I guess I'm getting a little off topic. My point is, I think I would have found the scene harder to watch if she wasn't such an intolerable snob. Sue me. I love how this typewriter scene sort of symbolizes Charlie's internalization with his struggles. You know, throughout the entire movie, we hear him and his loved ones reference getting bad again, or what would happen if he got bad again. And when he finally is, and finally says it, it's just typed out in front of him with, like, complete silence. To contrast that buildup with such a, you know, quiet scene. Beautiful. On a side note, I find it funny that he still hangs out with the stoner guy. What's his name? Like, Bob or something? Because that's so realistic, you know? Charlie would totally just take whoever he could get. Right? I could see Bob just being like,
Yo, Charlie, man, what's good?
I gotta say, it's really sad seeing Charlie alone again, you know, sort of paralleling the start of the movie. You honestly feel his castle's crumbling in front of him during the phone call.
I mean, yeah, I just don't want to do anything to ruin our relationship.
It's ruined, so stop calling everyone. Stop embarrassing yourself.
Fuck you, Mary Elizabeth. Fucking pick a name. Mary or Elizabeth. You know how annoying it is to write Mary Elizabeth every single time I have to bring you up in the script? Thankfully, Sad Charlie doesn't last long because we get this banger of a scene.
Oops. You gonna do anything?
Better walk away right now. Nothing.
Ugh. Can you imagine the pain of hearing someone you love call you nothing like that? I know it's a callback to a joke earlier, but like it's the duality of it, you know what I mean? For context, Brad and Patty were caught smooching by Brad's dad. Brad's dad got mad and started beating up his son for liking lads, while Patty had to watch. Very sad. Rip Bradtrick. 1990 something to 1990 something. And then Charlie, fucking Charlie comes in beast mode.
Whatever.
Phony. Logan Wade fucking Lerman! Ah! I love him. I'm fucking in love with him, man. Oh my god.
Touch my friends again and I'll blind you.
Really brought out his inner son of Poseidon with that line. He said, "Don't make me use my water fork on you, bitch." Throughout the movie, he does a really good job with the whole look, you know? And he was typecast in a bit of a similar role in the movie Stuck in Love, which is literally the only reason I ever watched that movie. Everything about it is mid, except him and Lily Collins scenes. But obviously, there's much more nuance to his performance here. I guess I just like the idea of that innocence sort of being like a cover-up for him. Not an intentional one, but just how he's naturally resorted to hiding his demons. And yeah, that's also kind of a writing thing, but Logan just sells it so well. You know, you buy the innocence and you buy the badassery. What a fucking legend. Logan Lerman should be in the GOAT conversation.
I'm dating Peter now. You were very sweet, but our relationship was too one-sided. I know this is hard for you.
Well, we've arrived to the second non-consensual kiss in this movie, but this one I kind of like. I mean, fuck, no. Obviously, no form of non-consensual kissing is good. But this scene not only deepens Patrick's character, but also kind of just rounds him out for the movie, in my opinion. Like, up till this point, we've kind of just seen sad shit happen to him, or heard that sad shit happened. And it was kind of like continuously winding up a toy robot and making it walk, just waiting for him to eventually run out of wind and fall over.
I just need to meet a good guy. I'm sorry. It's alright.
My man is just so lonely, you know? There's a really particular line right before the kiss where he says,
"Why can't you save anybody?"
I don't know.
which I've come to realize is actually also a callback to an earlier scene.
Keep telling her, don't make yourself small. Can't save anybody.
Very nice, very nice. And yeah, I think Ezra just really knocks it out of the park with the scene. Ah, man, it's just so good. I love it. I love it. I love this movie. I took a note, figured I'd just point it out. Charlie at the start of the movie, too shy to say anything in class. Middle of the movie, when he gets the suit from his friends and he's like, okay, I have some friends now, I'll start standing up to bullies a little bit more. And now, you know, the end of the school year, we want to see some growth.
Now, who here is going to read for pleasure this summer?
Fucking nerd, reading for pleasure? What a loser. And after a little montage, you know, end of the year tings, thank God Pussytail Derek is out of the picture now, get a fucking haircut, you hippie. We arrive to this scene.
I wanted to give her a part of me.
Are these all your books, Charlie?
Fucking nerd, what am I supposed to do with these? Read for pleasure? This conversation is honestly my favorite part of the movie. I know I said that about a bunch of different scenes, but I take all those back. This is it. There's just so many nuggets and little bits in here that I remember resonating with me as a high schooler who was in love with a lesbian. Charlie spits out the exact same line that he heard earlier.
Why do I and everyone I love pick people who treat us like we're nothing?
We accept the love we think we deserve.
Also pretty relatable because I be saying the same shit that my parents tell me sometimes just because like it's good advice and you want to pass the message on, you know? Do I take credit for it? Maybe kind of, I don't know, maybe. Sam goes on a whole spiel telling Charlie that he should have asked her out. And like, she's right, but cut the man some slack, man. You were kind of dating a college guy for the entire year. I know some people say that you could still score with the goalie, right? Like that's a pretty common saying. But when the kicker's a freshman in high school and the goalie's a freshman in college, it's like, well, it's like the kicker's a freshman in high school and the goalie's a freshman in college. And that's another thing with this whole movie, which is really weird to think about. Charlie has 4 high school friends. Technically, there's Bob, but he's not in high school. So in the group, 4 high school friends, all 4 seniors. 3 of them kiss him. And it's like normal because Logan Lerman's a cutie. I kind of get it. But he's also a freshman. And you're seniors. And like when I was in high school and seniors did that, we called them freshman killers. You know, it's not a good look. You kind of overlook it in this movie because Logan Lerman is probably like the same age as everyone else. But he's supposed to be 14 and they're all 17, 18. So like, it's a little weird, especially the Mary Elizabeth stuff.
It's really sweet and everything, but you can't just sit there and put everybody's lives ahead of yours and think that counts as love.
Okay, Sam coming with the knowledge bombs, as per usual, you know? It's Leviosa, not Leviosa. But damn, bro, what a bar. I feel like it's really normal to romanticize someone in your head and kind of tell yourself that you love them and you're hiding your feelings because you wouldn't be good for them or they would never want a relationship with me, bullshit like that. Oh my God, I did that entire line with a burp. Just sitting right there. At a certain point, I feel like not doing anything about your feelings for someone, especially a friend, almost becomes selfish. Because you're so trapped in the idea of preserving the friendship that you end up just not being honest with them, you know, and they're like completely blindsided to the entire situation. And I'm definitely not speaking from experience. Anyways.
And you're not small, you're beautiful.
Okay, Charlie, spending the night wearing the same clothes as yesterday, you dog. But jokes aside, what do you guys think? Did he perk her wallflower? Perks of being a wallflower? More like perks of taking her flower. More like perks of a post-nut shower. More like perks of clapping cheeks for an hour. More like perks of Obviously, it's left up to interpretation, but I'm gonna say no. This was obviously the moment that triggered his memories, and I just feel like if they had gone any further that night, it would have felt a little unrealistic for their characters and where they were at. We now move on to the climax of the movie, and just such a fantastic scene. This being like the 5th time that I've watched this movie, I obviously know how it ends, but I remember on my first watch when that match cut happens of like the hand. Oh my god, bro, my mind was blown. I was like, oh shit, that's what's going on here. Because we knew his trauma had to do with his aunt dying, right? But it did kind of feel like there was a chunk missing. You know, you can kind of just chalk it up to that. The movie's about so much more than just that trauma. But fitting that one last puzzle piece in, you're just kind of like, fuck, dude, wow. We get flashes of the car accident, the ponytail Derek scene, the cafeteria scene, all intercut with Charlie repeatedly saying, it's all my fault. And like I said earlier, you know, I'm not a therapist. I'm not very educated when it comes to mental health and certain things like that. But I have 2 possible interpretations of Charlie's trauma and his internal struggle. And I guess you guys just tell me which one you think I'm right about, or what parts I might have missed, or if I'm just wrong completely, or if I'm completely right about everything. Pretty much never happens. The way I see it, either Charlie has suppressed his trauma and like basically completely forgotten about it since he was so young when it happened, and Sam touching him brought all those memories back. You know, sometimes a specific sensory trigger can bring back memories that you didn't know you had. Or he had purposely suppressed those memories because of the guilt he felt for his aunt dying, and he just wanted to like remember her as a good person, you know? On one hand, the option 1 makes sense because we start to get new flashes of memories with his aunt after Sam touches him that we haven't seen before. And when he's on the phone with Candace and he says maybe I wanted her to die, it does kind of feel like he's piecing it together in his head at that moment. But on the other hand, the way he talks about it here and when he eventually opens up about it in the hospital, it does kind of feel like something he's been holding back, you know? And it's possible that the more conflicted he felt about his relationship with his aunt, the more guilt he ended up feeling because of her death. So he may have chosen to ignore it, you know, chosen to suppress it so that he could remember his aunt for the woman that he thought she was as a kid, not the woman that he realized she was when he got older. And this makes sense too, you know, whenever he references his aunt prior to this throughout the movie, it's always in a positive way. And that could be him choosing to remember what he wants to remember, or just being completely oblivious to the darker side of that up until now. Regardless, this is a very powerful scene and a very difficult one to watch too. The most underrated shot of the movie is right here. His dad holding back tears, watching from afar as his mom's comforting him. And this is just a specific level of hurt that I can't even imagine because obviously I don't have kids of my own, but it's just very well done, very subtle. Charlie's dad is honestly a sleeper pick for MVP. Like, this man is so funny.
Can I have $30?
$20? What do you need $10 for? Charlie tells me you're a Buddhist. Buddhist, I need you to smile a little bit more.
So yeah, Charlie gets better, Sam and Patty come back to visit, and they all go to the diner. Apparently grilled stickies slap, but I guess I wouldn't know. And we end our movie where we started it, and where we were about 27.5 minutes into it. The tunnel. Now, I sat on Charlie's closing monologue for a while, just because I couldn't really figure out how to interpret it. I mean, the point of it is pretty simple, you know, relish in the beauty of the present, because yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, today's a gift. Shouts out to Master Oogway. But I don't know, I guess I just kind of don't really see how that connects to, I guess, my idea of what the bigger overarching message of this movie is. A lot of people will say that this movie does a really good job at feeling real, right? And like relatable, or whatever that means. But other than some good performances and some serious topics, what makes this movie feel so real? Well, there's everything I said about, like, you know, Charlie's perspective with the notes, with the ways that they set things up with the characters. That makes it feel like you're actually meeting them in person instead of like getting a little glimpse at them before you meet them. There's also not much structure to this movie. You kind of just get thrusted into things, and even the really intense climax high moments of the movie don't really pay off any of the overarching conflicts in their entirety. But hear me out. That's life. I know, crazy. So many movies like to wrap things up with a little bow. You know, they'll introduce a conflict at the beginning and they'll resolve it at the end. But Perks of Being a Wallflower doesn't do that. I mean, we don't even really fully understand the conflict until the last 15 minutes of the movie. And even with the movie ending on a somewhat uplifting note, the problems aren't resolved. Trauma doesn't just go away because you talk about it. You know, Patrick is still lonely. Sam, well, I guess honestly, Sam story is wrapped up. Okay, never mind. Maybe she was the main character all along. I don't know. But my point is, that's so much more realistic, you know? Most of the big problems in life don't go away at all. You kind of just have to find ways to deal with them. Rather than sending all these characters on personal journeys of growth and self-realization, it just kind of feels like we were friends with these guys for a year. There was drama, there was arguments, there were ups and downs, but you look back on all of it fondly. Don't get me wrong, there's character growth, obviously. You know, Charlie didn't say anything in the beginning, now he's raising his hand. Good for him. But it's just done in a way that feels more natural, you know, rather than it being like spoon-fed to you. Okay, I wasn't going to use this example, but you know how in Cars, Lightning McQueen wants the Dynaco sponsorship, and that's like driving him throughout the entire movie, and then by the end, he doesn't even care about the Piston Cup, and he denies the Dynaco sponsorship to stick with lame-ass Rusties. That is like spoon-feeding you the character growth, you know, putting it directly in your face so that you could see it and you feel like you saw a difference. And like, Cars is still a banger. That's fine. I'll let it slide. But I guess my point is, this movie's character growth is not a spectacle. It's kind of just there. So yeah, I would say everything that I just said, along with all the good things I pointed out throughout this entire video, results in a very fun, relatable, and true coming of age type movie. Does it romanticize certain things about high school? Sure. Yeah, it does. But I feel like everyone romanticizes high school a little bit, like while you're in it, you know what I mean? So if anything, that makes it more relatable. But I guess it depends on the type of person you are. For me, 5 stars, I'll give it a 97 on the Jason Tomatoes meter. And I want to end this video by rewinding to one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie. God, how many times have I said that? But this one is actually one of my, okay, probably like top 3.
Why do nice people choose the wrong people to date?
We accept the love we think we deserve.
I remember this scene so vividly because it's the preview that would play when you hovered over it in Netflix. I saw Percy Jackson, I saw Ant-Man, I was like, hey, and it's a cute little line. Cute little line, more like bars. My goodness. My brother met Paul Rudd once. He was at a college football game that I could have gone to, but I didn't want to because I didn't think I would meet Paul Rudd. And now he has a picture with Paul Rudd and I don't, and I'm super jealous. But anyways, Charlie throughout this entire movie is essentially sitting around watching as everyone around him accepts the love that they think they deserve. And honestly, he does that too. You know, he doesn't think he deserves Sam's love. He accepts Mary Elizabeth's weird form of love that, you know, she doesn't really even listen to him talk. She just talks to him and on the phone, and he doesn't even have to listen over the phone. It's really one of the biggest themes of the entire movie. You know, we see all these people that are good people, but are just put in such horrible situations that it lowers their standards, lowers their self-esteem. And I think that's really relatable. A lot of times when bad things happen in my life personally, it does tend to weigh me down, lower my self-esteem. Bad things keep happening, it's because of me. Right? I'm the common factor. But surrounding yourself with the right people, people that will try to show you that you deserve better, that's what can pull you out. But I'd love to hear what you guys think of this movie. You know, let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you're new. Give that like button a non-consensual kiss followed by an emotional breakdown from me. And I'll see you guys in the next one.
Justin, what do you think is the big takeaway of Perks of Being a Wallflower?
I think it's like if you surround yourself around the right crowd, like how much it could heal a person, you know?
That was beautiful.
Oh.